Hello, loyal viewers, curious clickers, and everyone else listening to me right now, and welcome to the 2023 Brit from Oz Awards, hosted by me! Because who else would be doing this? Yes, the Brit from Oz Awards, recognising the best, worst, great, good, and rubbish of this year, are back! I've decided this is a more fun way of doing a year in review video than just replaying clips you've already seen, which is what I do anyway, come to think of it, but let's not get bogged down. As in previous years, these are all my personal feelings towards these films, how I felt making, editing, and releasing them, and aren't really based on any sort of scientifically provable fact at all, apart from one of them. Unlike previous years though, anything that's not had its official release is not eligible to be awarded here. So Greater Sydney Extravaganza, the Southern Highlands film I shot literally yesterday, and 154 Years of Zig Zag will have to wait until next year. With that little bit of housekeeping out of the way, we've got 14 awards to get through, so let's get started. First off, let's get the 2023 Turkey Award for my least favourite film out of the way. Now for 2023, this somewhat unprestigious award goes to Follow the Sun. Shut up! One of only a few quickie films released this year, this video just felt unnecessary. It's not notable, it's not got many good shots in it, apart from possibly this one, and really doesn't do justice to the Beatles song I named it after. It's not so much a bad film as it is forgettable, which is sort of worse. Mercifully though, it is quite short. Best New Place Award for the best new location to debut this year. There are plenty of nominations: Como Bridge, Gazard Lane Clergate, Fassifern, Farmers Creek, Mittagong Junction and Clarence III, to name but 6. This year we have 2 winners, and they are the Zig Zag Railway and Wagga Wagga. Zig Zag is an obvious choice here. Having the iconic railway back this year is absolutely fantastic, and whilst its film may not be out yet, stay tuned for early 24, it does appear in Blue Mountain Mainline and Bathurst Volume 42, the quarter-hour caper. Welcome back guys, we have missed you. As for Wagga Wagga, this was my first time catching a train south of Goulburn, and this city had plenty to offer, both historically and railway-y. Plus, it's full of great vantage points, not all of which I could use on this trip, which guarantees it a sequel. At some point. So we've had Best New Place, now it's time for Best New Train, the best locomotive or service to debut this year. Nominations include S311, 218A, 42107, 42105 Chumsayer, and 3001. Actually, 3001 is this year's runner-up. But the winner, and this will come as a surprise to nobody, is 3237 Lachlan. This fantastic locomotive made its first public appearance since 2019 in May, and subsequently cemented itself as the Central West's resident steam engine, appearing in no less than 9 videos, 3 of which were dedicated to it. It's an absolute joy to have the oldest working steamer in New South Wales back in steam, 130 years old, and she's still going great. So, after the newbies, we now have the 2 Long Time No See Awards, acknowledging a returnee to the Brit from Oz after over 2 years away. First, the Locations arm. Nominations include Ralstone, Capertee, Picton, Tarmore, Menangle Park, Menangle, Mittagong, Taro and Beresfield. That's quite a few. But the winner for this year is Scarborough, featuring in Scarborough Steam by the Sea, after last appearing in 2020's Scarborough 4 Seasons. I considered about 6 locations at which to possibly shoot this film, and eventually settled on Scarborough once again. It's a lovely station, and it's in my top 3 on the south coastline. alongside Bombo and Berry. And now the Long Time No See Train Award. Nominations are 4306, after its last appearance in early 2021, B61 Bernie Baker, after last appearing back in 2020, 4001, after last appearing back in 2018, I think, and XP 2019, which returned to service this year after 3 years withdrawn for repairs. I think that's all I'll say about that one. But the winner for this year goes to 3642. Last appearing in 2019's Transport Heritage Expo film, and last appearing actually moving in 2018's Hooroo Pig 42 tour, the locomotive reappeared this year in Bathurst Volume 36, The Nanny and the Pig, once more alongside 3526. And it subsequently went on to appear in 5 more productions. I do quite like the black livery it has now too. Now, I cover a lot of history across my productions, some productions even being dedicated entirely to the history, and these are usually done in a Jago Hazard-esque style. Unfortunately, Zig Zag, you'll have to wait for the 2024 awards this year, as your history film is currently unreleased. It's coming soon though, I promise. Nominations this year then for the newly christened Past Life Award include Scarborough and Clifton, which will actually get a correction film later on, the 5 stations of Nunez Junction and Clarence, the Picton to Mittagong Loop Line, and 3237. But the winner for this year is the Stockton Ferry. Now, the history of boat and ferry services often has to play second fiddle to trains on this channel, owing to A Brit Does Boats film being about an annual thing. But this one I found extremely interesting, particularly the name origins of the various landmarks and boats we see. Plus, the novelty of working a photo of Mars into a boat film is something quite fun. You'll have to watch the film for the context of that one. Here's a quick one, the TOTO Award for the wettest shoot of the year. Not a lot of candidates this year, so it goes to Bathurst Volume 33, The Extended Explorer, and other stories. The first half of this shoot was fairly rainy, as can be seen here, including the bit with the eponymous Explorer. Far from the wettest film I've ever done, and far from the wettest shoot of this year, though that video is currently unreleased. But the winner of the award for this year. Happily, by the end of the film, it had brightened up. Now, the Best of a Bad Lot Award. There are often shoots that I don't enjoy shooting for reasons of weather or unpredictability, or suffer from technical issues in the edit, but the finished product is still perfectly fine. This award has previously been known as the Technical Difficulties Award. Now, this year's winner very much fit that description, for it is Short South Sunday. This shoot was done on the fly on a rather warm day. It was originally going to be the shoot that would later be done as Too Many Nangles, coming next year. But worst of all, the iPhone footage was encoded in a way movie studio couldn't read, which took quite a lot of annoying work to fix. Yet the finished film is, mostly, fairly good. The roots of some films are bitter, but the fruit is sweet, to paraphrase Aristotle. The Highest Ratings Award is next. Notable that it's the only award based on actual facts, this being whichever film released this year is my most viewed as of 29th of December 2023, when I write this. There's a clear winner here, so clear because it's miles ahead of all the others. 3237 Rides Again, Wild West Chases, Episode 4. Just as The Locomotive's return was enthusiastically received, so was this film depicting its transfer to Orange, which has amassed 776 views and 22 likes, both of which continue to rise. Big thank you to my good mate and frequent collaborator Bathurst Trainspotting here, as this film would not exist without them. There's plenty of farewells done on the Brit from Oz, either temporary or permanent, so this year I'm adding the new final Encore award for something we're unlikely to ever see again. This year it's not a train, but instead Taronga Zoo's Sky Safari, or the 2000 to 2023 form of it at least. This attraction had its history and one last ride shown in Farewell Sky Safari, just before it closed for renovation on 31st of January this year. I have a lot of memories of the Sky Safari and had wanted to make a film on it for a little while, so this proved a last chance to do so. Bye bye Sky Safari. Bye bye. Until you reopen in 2025, of course. Next up is the On a Whim Award for the Best Unplanned Film of the Year. I have to have woken up on the day of shooting not planning to make an entire film that day. Nominations include Location Short Episode 1 Roads, Racing a Rocking Horse, Wild West Chases Episode 7, and Late Night at Mortdale, but the winner is 3526 and 3642 to Orange, Wild West Chases Episode 5. I had planned to get one shot of the Orange steam run on Monday 12th of June, this one. Then decided to get a Tamala Bank shot too. Then the Newbridge shot. Yeah, it's fairly obvious where this film subsequently emerged from. It is, that said, a great film and I'm very glad I did end up shooting it. Now we get to the big ones. Top films, top photo and top clip. My favourite captures and releases of 2023. I will start with top 5 films. In 5th place is Bathurst Volume 41, Let It Spring. Lots of interesting trains, lots of locations, even the return of B61 Bernie Baker. It's my favourite regular Bathurst volume of the year. And I say regular because in 4th place we have Bathurst Volume 36, The Nanny and the Pig, showing 3526, 3642 and 4201 on a round trip from Bathurst to Wimbledon during the Bathurst Steam Weekend in June. This was my 3rd shuttle film depicting a round trip journey, and of the 3 I'd made up to that point, the one I was happiest with. It's now 2nd in that regard, but I'm getting ahead of myself. In 3rd place is Golden Reverse, easily my favourite episode of Wild West Chases for this year of the 8 made, even beating the 2 with 3237. This marks the first time 42107 has appeared nose end leading, and doesn't it look grand in this As I Wanted film. In 2nd place is the film that pushed Nanny and the Pig to 2nd place in shuttle films. It's Lachlan on the West, featuring 3237 and 4708 on a round trip from Orange to Bologna. This one featured several new locations, 3237's first public run since 2019, welcome back, and updated history on both locomotives. It's also quite fun to make, and applied the shuttle film format to a new location extremely well. I really liked this film. Just before we go any further, an honourable mention to 5917 to Rylestone, Wild West Chases Episode 8, as it's not every year I reach a milestone like my 500th video, so this film stands out as something very special in that regard. It's also an absolutely beautiful area to film in. Big thank you to Zach and Al from A to Z Photography, without whom this film would not have existed, and to everyone whose support got me to this milestone. But there can only be one winner. Well, there can be a tie, but it isn't in this circumstance. And unlike the other 4, this one's not from the Great Western. My favourite production of 2023 is Bundanoon 10 Hours. I wanted to start 2023 with something great, and I did. Bundanoon remains one of my favourite stations in New South Wales, and the trains to be seen on this day were varied and fantastic. So much so, I felt the need to split the film in 2, so numerous were the great clips. I really enjoyed this day out and the film it produced, and it's something I really hope you enjoyed watching. But we're not done yet. This year I'm adding a Top Still award for my favourite photograph of 2023. Nominations include CLP9 Peter Wilkes at Tarmore, NT32 XPT at Hawkesbury River, both part of the currently unreleased Greater Sydney Extravaganza film serial, but the photos have been posted, 42107 on the Golden West Rail Tour at Newbridge, 3001 approaching Courageous on its debut appearance, and the runner-up for this year, ST24 on the Murrumbidgee Bridges in North Wagga Wagga. This one had been on the to-do list for months. But the winner, my favourite photo for 2023, is the Great Southern at Bundanoon on 7th of January. I adore this still. The colour's great, the framing's great, and it shows off the beauty of Bundanoon alongside the smart livery of the Great Southern NRs. Even more so because it doesn't actually appear in the film itself, aside from the thumbnail. And now, my final award. My favourite video clip of 2023 of all the ones I've released as part of films. Nominations for this include 218A at Mount Sinai, which is actually the runner-up for this year, 3801 at Menangle, the Indian Pacific at Perthville, and WT28XPT at Farmers Creek. But the winner, and you may have already guessed this, is this. 3237 at Springvale Lane in Millthorpe on 8th of July 2023. So there we are, the great, the good, and the rubbish of 2023. I'd like to end by thanking everyone who supported this channel and me through what hasn't been the easiest of years, I'll be honest, and by wishing you all a safe and prosperous new year. Happy Hogmanay!